About Christianity and how a war started in Canada. This was in 2013. Today we're 2024. And 1,000 times, knock on wood, I'm living that I can talk about it. And so many people died. Today, a body came out of one of the houses, or what I think it was, and the coroner was there, or whatever that was. We don't feel anything. So seeing that is nothing today after the devil. As the coroner came, I didn't even want to look. But I noticed the man, and I profiled him. Remember, in the real version, Hanna, because of mental illness, did 70 all over the place journals. So it's almost like a computer scan. You know, because we are a very legal family. There's people in our family that are police and stuff like that. So automatically, when we scan, Caucasian, age, in his 60s. But what's interesting is, because I'm very well versed, I think he is from Georgia or Alabama, a plantation owner, or a former KKK, something like that. Very Christian, but not normal. Now, where am I deriving that? And how would that come into Hannan undetected? In 2013, when I was in court, the people who followed me were the Canadian blacks. Now, why? Because I was already a seasoned veteran. I had submitted documents to UFD on the black stuff, so I had a big gathering. But prior to that, I also did the Iraq stuff in 2003, so I also had a big gathering, like I'm hoarding people. I think the blacks were paid my money from Wings, or the black stuff, to do certain things across the United States to change up the story or bring it into the United States, because conflict had already started. So they're trying to protect the United States now. Remember, there was 9/11. Like, we're monitoring this from since time. It's a 25-year story. So, as the blacks were doing their own stuff, they told these guys that someone in Canada was changing Christianity. It has to be that. They got the church involved, who gave the command it belonged to the Indians, because someone from them may have fibbed, or Canada may have said, we'll sell it to you for this price, because it's a regional thing. So even though at that time a cease and desist letter was sent to CSIS, they ignored it because it's a regional name. But it has nothing to do with the regional name. It has to do with the research associated with it. And if you notice, like, it's mental, because by fluke I took electives at York U on Native history. And I'm also Turkic people, so it's a form of Native, but from the other side. So as these guys snuck in, or the Vatican brought them in, they're still in the vicinity 15 years later. And they may hate my friggin' guts, because they see me as a black woman. They don't realize I'm just raised by blacks, contributing to my injury. But how did they get into Hannan? That would have had to been the church. That would have had to have been the church. So I looked at him and he looked at me, and he's all confused. He possibly hates my guts because he knows a different story. And it's hard on him because think about it. You're living in a different fantasy world of a rural area with lots of, things that are historically plantation, and now you're in First Nations land, Northern Ontario, trying to, chase down somebody and they don't even know the story. But does it make sense? For Hanna, it does, because it matches the hunter story, the famous hunter story at the height of war, and that was in 2015. And that's by Bathurst, by Silver City, which should have been Gold City. It was made into Silver City because they're adamant to push it and change up the story. So, Hunter matches this guy that I just saw today. Another entry, but these things are important because we're trying to also see how quick thousands or millions of people were gathered that the devil may have put down. Now, when these guys came in, think about it, they hate the blacks, but they also hate the Indians and the Chinese. But I figure, they're trying to digest everything. It's new DNA migration, but they don't comprehend certain things. And it's hard on them. I get that. So between the Chinese and the Indians, they may have chosen the Chinese, but with the bloodshed that happened in Ontario, Christians may have been doubled. So we have to kind of wait to see who is left, because whoever's left is probably the bad guy. That's the truth of it. Or it might be a compilation of a little bit of everybody. We are just praying, that life can be sustained. Another entry. Oh, I forgot. Sorry, before I close it. The Christian portion. One last thing. Hanna predates Christ by about 10,000-15,000 years. In the future, 100 years from now, or 10,000 years from now, if Hanna is utilized like Christ but in a modern form, so be it. I'm okay with that. Why would Hanna write that into the Sun collection? It was to stop bloodshed. Another entry.